All right, in the meantime here, we are going out now live to New Orleans with an update on these now 9 escaped inmates. Law enforcement addressing the media. Let's watch live.
All right. You guys all ready? Yeah. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here so we can get more information out to our community. We are joined here today by our partners who are helping us to put this investigation together to get these folks back into custody. We are joined here by the FBI, the new SAC who's in the back. We are also joined by our partners at the New Orleans Police Department, Chief Gontier, the State Police. We've got a couple of members of the State Police also here to support us. Crime Stoppers and CEO Costanza. And we are going to start off with OPSO Major Silas Phipps Jr., who is over our Investigative Services Bureau, to give you an update about that. We'll then have Chief Jay Mallet, who is our warden over the jail, to discuss a little bit more about that. Major Stephanie Minto, who is our Crime Victims Reparations Unit Commander. Darlene Costanza will be next after that, and then the SAC from the FBI will be final. Major Phipps.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Sheriff. Thank you all for being here. I'll start by providing you an update on where we are with the investigation. Just an overview of the original timeline. So at approximately 8:30 this morning, OPSO jail operations staff found that several inmates on Pod 1 Delta were missing during their head count. That jail staff immediately began a systematic search of the facility for those inmates as members of our investigatory team began combing through video to see where they could have gone. At the time of the incident, there was no deputy physically on Pod 1 Delta, and the technician that was assigned to the housing unit module had actually stepped away to grab food. After reviewing video, we noticed that at 12:22 a.m., several inmates on Pod 1 Delta were observed jarring one of the sliding doors open, specifically on cell Delta 1006. At 12:43 a.m., those same individuals entered that cell. At 1 a.m., they were observed on camera exiting our facility using an adjacent loading dock door, so a loading dock door adjacent to that pod, and subsequently going down a side road behind our building, our secure perimeter between the Phase 3 facility that's currently under construction. At 1:19 a.m., they were then observed scaling the fence along the I-10 between our building and the currently under construction Phase 3, using blankets to avoid being cut by the barbed wire. Those individuals subsequently ran across the westbound and eastbound lanes of I-10 and then entered the neighborhood. This morning, after investigators became involved, they subsequently found clothing that they shed in that neighborhood. Although it was previously reported that there were 11 escapees, there were 10. 9 remain at large. 1 was apprehended earlier today, which you've covered, and 1 person previously reported as an escapee was located inside the facility. As of right now, 3 employees have been placed on suspension pending the outcome of this fluid and ongoing investigation. We do have a video we're going to play with you, and I will kind of narrate just to kind of show you what I've already said, and then I'll go from there after. So if you take a look at the screen. So as you see here, on this screen, this is where you see inmates jarring open this sliding door to the cell that they used to escape. The whole, this is how we move forward. So, really.
Can you start it over?
Sure.
We'll provide this to y'all as well.
All right, so you see them jarring open the door. They get it open. Subsequently, they go inside that cell, and this is where you see them exiting the loading dock door. As you know, if you notice, they are carrying blankets with them. This road that they're going out of is behind this building, as I explained. They subsequently go through another door, and here, at some point, you can see them come through here, and they scale the fence through this door that's near the construction site. They scale that fence, and then make good on their escape, crossing all lanes of I-10. And that's where you see them going across as we speak. And as Casey said, we will share those videos with you all.
So if you had video of them...
1 second, we still have more to go.
Okay.
Yeah. We would like to acknowledge the over 200 law enforcement personnel that are assisting this investigation. They represent partner agencies, the Louisiana State Police, Department of Public Safety and Corrections, Louisiana Office of Probation and Parole, Louisiana Attorney General's Office, the New Orleans Police Department, the Orleans and East Jefferson Levy District Police Departments, United States Marshal's Office, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, Homeland Security Investigations, the Office of Alcohol, Tobacco Control, and Explosives, the St. Tammany and St. Bernard Parish Sheriff's Offices. I will now turn it over to Chief Jay Mallet.
Thank you. What I would like to do is kind of point to you where we believe is the exit point of where the inmates left. What you're looking at here is a vantage point where you're behind the cell in the pipe chase. And as you can see, these are rebars that reinforce the structure. There are clean cuts here, and plumbing had been removed. All of this is on the outside of the cell, behind in the pipe chase. This is how it looks initially. As you can see, we have bolts that hold those fixtures in place. These are, again, on the back side into the pipe chase. All of this has been removed, and these have been clean cut. We have reason to believe that there was some assistance with this. That's why we're thoroughly investigating. And as Major Fisher said, we placed 3 individuals on administrative leave pending the outcome of this investigation.
Good afternoon, all. I am Major Stephanie Minter Gibson, and I oversee the Crime Victims Unit for the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. Once I was notified about the escapees, I immediately gathered a team of experienced staff, and we started calling victims and survivors just to make sure that they are aware of what was going on and that they are safe. For the records that had no information, I immediately reached out to our partners such as NOPD Special Victims Unit, Detective Walton, who was very grateful in helping us, and she provided us with other information that we were able to call those families and help them as well. Once we finished the first batch of victims, we started calling the second batch, and actually the reason why I'm saying that is because I separated them. The chief from the DA's office, victims, Allison Morgarder, reached out to me, and we both were calling victims. What she had and I did not have, we shared information, and we both gathered all the information, and we made sure all victims were aware of what was going on. Most of the victims were very grateful for the calls. They graciously thanked us. We additionally sent our detectives to their homes for more safety measures, and that alone speaks measures. I strongly encourage all to educate the community on the importance of VineLink. This is a free app that is listed online, and it is also a guide for victims and survivors to track offenders while they navigate the criminal justice system. The number for Vine is 1-800-277-7477. I'm sorry, it's 1-866-277-7477. We are located here on the 3rd floor of the Sheriff's Office, and our contact number here is 827-6754, 504-202-9229. Thank you.
Good evening. As you know, Crime Stoppers has been in this community offering anonymous, asking for anonymous tips and offering cash rewards for that information for over 40 years, close to 50 years. And what we do is we allow you to come forward through either a phone number, and that number you hear it every day, 504-822-1111. You can go to the crimestoppersgno.org website and post a tip, or you can use our mobile app. It's Crime Stoppers GNO Say It Here. No matter how you come to Crime Stoppers, you remain anonymous. We're not tracking your IP, we're not tracking your phone number, we're not asking you to be a witness. But what we're asking you to do today to help the individuals here is to make the call. If you know someplace that someone likes to frequent, you know someplace that they may be, somewhere they might visit, a friend that might be helping, give the call, make the call, send the tip. Now today we're also announcing an increased reward of $2,000 on each apprehension. So if there are 9 individuals that we're looking for, that's $2,000 on each of the 9 individuals. You have to go through Crime Stoppers. We asked you to come through Crime Stoppers because we're going to keep you anonymous. That's the trusted program. That's the way that we operate. But know that the reward is there if your information leads to the apprehension, and that will come from law enforcement. Thank you. FBI.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Jonathan Tapp, Special Agent in charge of the FBI here in New Orleans. FBI New Orleans has a command post up and running to help search for the escaped inmates. We are offering a reward of up to $5,000 for information leading to the arrest of any of these escaped inmates. If you have information on their whereabouts, we're asking you call 1-800-CALL-FBI or submit a tip online to fbi.gov/New Orleans fugitives. We're working side by side with our law enforcement partners. New Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office remains the lead investigative agency here, and we are helping. Thank you very much.
We'll take questions from each. Go ahead from Channel 4.
Yeah. Is there any indications that friends or family on the outside were aware in advance or communicating about these plans?
And we're not going to get into the details of the investigation, Major Phipps, but we're looking at all angles.
What does it say, and I mean this respectfully, but you said, and I'm going to quote you here, that you observed those guys running out at 1 o'clock in the morning. What does it say for jailhouse safety and security when you see a jailbreak like that, but you fail to notify anyone, NOPD, the public, anyone?
We didn't say that.
What did you say then?
Yeah. We observed on the video later this morning. We had to pull that video.
You said you observed at 1 a.m.
So let's be clear. I said what we observed on the video through the investigation. So yes, when they looked at the video this morning after the staff realized they were gone, my investigators found that at 1 a.m. that's what happened.
So no one was watching live video all night at the jail?
I won't say no one was watching live video, but there are over 900 cameras.
How did nobody see them leaving the jail?
There are over 900 cameras in this facility.
How did no one see a massive jailbreak?
The why and how is part of the investigation. So we have interviewed, I think, all of our employees, and we are interviewing all of the residents of that particular pod as well. And then there's a lot of people that you've got to wade through their interviews to find out, to get down to the details of what happened. There was somebody on duty.
Sheriff, a source told us that phone calls haven't been monitored over the past week, and escaped inmates were planning how they were going to get out through phone calls. Were you all monitoring phone calls?
We monitor phone calls all the time. There are 1,400 people in this jail, over the City Council 1250 limit. So can you monitor every single person every day? No, we don't have the bodies to do that. But we do monitor, and we rely on tips, and we have an intelligence unit that monitors what's going on in the jail. There's a lot of things at any given time going on.
But it's your job. It's your job to monitor every single person in this facility every day.
Visually, with our deputies on the pods. Yes.
I did have a question. I'm the former sheriff Marlon Gusman. He disputes the claims that there were a lot of issues here at the facility after he left. Do you stand by your statement about the issues with it? And also, we learned that you have a $14 million fund balance. Why wasn't that money used to repair the locks? If you could talk about that.
Can I speak to the I can speak more intelligently, I believe, to the physical plant in the jail. Not necessarily designed, but at some point this jail was planned, and it was obviously planned to be a minimum custody facility. I don't know what the dynamics of the population was in New Orleans as far as those incarcerated around that time, but that is not the dynamic now. Right now we have 24 pods, and 90% of those pods are populated with high security inmates. Those are people that are predatory, assaultive, violent, and aggressive. So we were in the process now of developing an ad-seg unit, because we identified a large number of individuals that needed to be on some type of restrictive housing environment that did not exist at this facility. So it's plenty of deficiencies when we start to talk about the physical plant. So it's not correct to say that those things didn't exist, because, I mean, they're prevalent.
This jail opened in 2015, and in 2022 they never had a jailbreak. So when you say it's not built for that,
well, you got to think about.
They never had a jailbreak.
You got to think about. The sheriff says that all the time. She talks about the 83% recidivism rate. So you got people in and out of here all the time. So they've been here and know the place. No. I say that when you started talking, I say it was built. Had to be built for a minimum. So you started talking. You started talking about locks. I don't know of a max security inmate. Right now they had an objective classification system in place. I don't know if that was in place to identify properly if there were max security. It may have been everybody clumped together. We know now, based on our objective criteria, that we do have people that are classified at a higher security level than what this particular facility was built for.
Yeah, talking about failures in the pods, is there a maintenance and service contract at this time in place? Is there a maintenance and service contract in place? We're talking about failures within the pod. Once again, is there a maintenance and service contract in place? Travers gets to ask multiple questions. We're asking another question.
I really can't
Is there
hear
a
you loud,
maintenance and
buddy.
service contract in place with the pods?
There's a murderer in there, right, who had already been convicted, and he was in among these 10, right? Were they in separate cells?
Everyone here is two to a cell, and that's what we have. And we've been in constant communication with anybody that's been convicted with the Department of Corrections to come and pick up those individuals that have been convicted. We have 78 individuals right now. We've been in communication with the Department of Corrections, and they've assured us that they're going to come and get these individuals.
Derrick Rose?
I'm not familiar with Derrick Rose if he's been sentenced. I know he's been here for a long period of time. So if he's been recently sentenced, that's great. He would have been on our list. He may be aware of that. He'll be on our list to go to the Department of Corrections. But the Department of Corrections and Public Safety have worked with us to move several inmates that have been sentenced. They come twice a week. I just got off the phone when I stepped out here then with the Department of Corrections to identify how many individuals we have that have been sentenced, that are taking up space, that are high security people, that have long sentences, and they all are violent.
And what's being
Talking about the
in
difference
that case, is there something being done to protect the witnesses who testified against him?
I deal with the jail, so there'll be someone.
That's what Captain Benso addressed earlier. All those have been in contact.
Talking about
Go ahead, Chris.
Talking about the pods and the deteriorating conditions, is there a maintenance and service contract in place to make repairs? And we're also hearing that critical cameras were down for weeks.
We have, this is our CFO, Bianca Brown, to talk more about that.
Hi, so I'm Bianca Brown. So based upon the question that you asked earlier about the fund balance related to the 2023 audit, I'll give you the breakdown of that. $4.2 million was related to accounts payable. $9.5 million was related to FEMA restricted cash, but capital projects only. The seizure and restricted cash had about $98,000 in it. Due to others, which was processing fee, DA fees, clerk of courts, NOPD property room, they get about $97,000 of that money. We had due to the Department of Public Safety for civilian backgrounds that we conduct. That was about $400,000. And then we also had a detail account that's kind of restricted for radios, video cameras, tactical gear, software, and maintenance for the deputies that they pay based upon their details. So that doesn't exist. That's failed. That money doesn't exist. That was from a 2023 audit that they're reporting on, and those funds don't exist. As of today, that balance is about $6.3 million that is still due out as of 2025.
So if we could answer my question, we asked a question, nobody answered.
What is your question?
Once again, we asked multiple times, is there a maintenance and service contract in place to take care of the deteriorating conditions within the pods and within the jail?
We can't afford a maintenance and service contract.
That are not working.
So right now, we can't afford a maintenance and service contract. We have maintenance staff that are on board that do the day-to-day. But right now, our current budget sits at about $68 million. $41.1 million comes from the city, $13 million comes from the millage, and about $10.1 million a quarter is given to us. Right now, our payroll is about $9.6. Our food expenses is $780,000 a quarter. That eats up the money. We don't have the funding available to have a full maintenance contract to do this. We've explained this on multiple occasions. Just on Monday, we went to the City Planning Commission and we reported this out. We asked for the money to secure this. So the funding is not available to do what needs to be done, and it hasn't been done.
So if your conditions are not appropriate enough to handle violent offenders like the ones that escaped today, have you all considered potentially shipping them elsewhere?
We can't afford it.
Let him answer this question before you. Your budget is bigger than Marlon Gusman's was. Do you all realize that the last sheriff had a smaller budget than you have?
The budget was bigger, but guess what? Things are being deprived. So what you're seeing is a result of what's happening now. Broken doors, you got facilities, wear and tear. All of that is occurring now due to that budget. This size facility, this should have a $150 million budget easily. The budget that we have, it doesn't support what we need. I've laid out the numbers. You see, it's critical.
I want to, if I could, speak to when you said, have we explored shipping, outboarding individuals? Yes, we have. We've sent out numerous individuals, high security people, to various places. Department of Corrections and Public Safety has helped us with that. We've sent people to Plaquemine. We've sent people to Catahoula. We've sent people to Madison. We've sent people to Angola. 30%, almost 40% of those individuals we send get remanded back for various reasons. So that takes up space. And the ones we sent to Catahoula, this is important, the ones we sent to Madison and the ones we sent to Plaquemine, all of these are parole violators. So these people are convicted felons that committed a crime here in New Orleans as either a pass-through, having fun, or whatever they were doing, and they ended up in the jail.
And look, circling back, what are you specifically doing to capture these violent offenders?
What do you mean?
What is the sheriff's office doing right now to capture these violent offenders?
The sheriff's office is working along with the 200 partner officers that I mentioned earlier at actually capturing these individuals. We're providing critical intel. So we are combing through those phone calls and other messages you mentioned earlier to identify who they communicated with, where they could potentially be. So along with our partners, we are visiting those locations in search of those individuals.
Specifically, Derek Rose, what are you doing to
recorded as well? Video calls on iPad?
I can't answer whether those are recorded. I know the phone calls are recorded. I don't want to say yes or no on the video call.
Here's a question. Specifically, Derek Rose, what are y'all doing to capture
Chief Mallet just said yes, they are recorded.
Murder.
All right, we have one more question. Okay. Go ahead. Tabone, you haven't had one.
The surveillance that we saw that they were wearing their orange jumpsuits, but you said when they got into the neighborhood they shed their clothes. Was someone there waiting to give them a change of clothes? Did they have clothes as contraband underneath their jumpsuits?
So right now we can't say we haven't seen all of the video to say that from the neighborhood on whether they had additional clothing, but what we knew is they shed some of their orange.
And the CMT is a civilian position, right? Should maximum security inmates be watched by a civilian CMT? And if you could talk a little bit more, I know you said that they were on a break. Could you give us some more specifics on that?
Sure. So yes, the CMT is a corrections monitoring technician. She is a civilian. She sits in a pod module and observes the pod. That is primarily when we do not have the physical deputy staff to sit on the pod. We have a vacancy rate like every other correctional agency in the country. Every corrections has a 55% vacancy rate across this country. Like us, we are underfunded, understaffed, underpaid. So we do our best to hire staff and retain them, but like everyone else, we're short. So yes, this civilian was assigned to the pod module to observe the pod. When she stepped away to grab food, that is when they began their attempts to escape. By the time she returned, they were already into the cell or gone. So she did not even know that they were they had made good on their escape or made an attempt to escape.
Sheriff, do you want to say,
I don't have that time in front of me.
people, I think everybody's live in here, do you want to say you're sorry to the people of New Orleans for having this happen? I mean, we've heard from you several times today, but do you want to offer any kind of contrition or apology to people for something like this happening?
Well, first we have to find out exactly what happened and how they got out. We think this was intentional. There is much more than meets the eye in this investigation. And why did it happen just right now, right? In the middle, as we're getting ready to start this sheriff's race. This is very suspicious. We know that they had help. We're showing you they had help. This was coordinated. There's much more than meets the eye. When I have enough information, I'll be glad to talk to the community about my issues or what I need, anything I may need to apologize. But what I'm telling you, I'm not finished. But what I'm telling you, this is a public safety issue first and foremost. There's much more than meets the eye. We are digging, and we are not going to stop.
Sheriff, what are y'all doing tonight to make sure that your facility is safe? What is OPSO doing tonight to make sure that this facility is safe and that no one else can escape? Once again, Sheriff.